So I just signed my first contract for a nocturnist position. That's 1 week on and 2 weeks off. That is 126 days a year, equivalent to 18 weeks, and that'll be 1/3 of a year. This deal was incredible when I heard it, and I'm still amazed that I found this deal. And it pays full time with full benefits, and you get a resident stipend and a sign-on bonus. To find out how I found this job, make sure you watch this video till the end. So in this video, I'll be talking about all the tools I used to find this job. And I started out my search with Google Engine, but I soon found out that most of the job postings on Google were outdated because I would not get a reply from them. I would send in my resume and it would just be like crickets. So I moved on after a month of like waiting around for them, for places I applied to from Google to reach out to me. Since nothing happened, I moved on to doccafe.com. And on DocCafe, as soon as I made my profile and uploaded my resume, I started getting recruiters calling me, texting me, emailing me like 24/7 nonstop. And from there, I was speaking to recruiters 3 times a day. They would call me at odd hours, and I would pick up and still listen to them, try to get information, try to see what I can learn from them. And after a week or two, I realized Dot Cafe is very good if you're looking for outpatient jobs. They have inpatient jobs also, but for me personally, they weren't in the area that I wanted. I was looking for New York City specifically, and all of the jobs posted on Dot Cafe were upstate or other states, Midwest, and so on. So after a month or so of Dot Cafe, I learned a lot from talking to recruiters. I made a profile on Practice Link and uploaded my resume. And Practice Link has a very friendly user interface where you can really localize your search to the specific area, the specific type of job, like nocturnist versus daytime, academic versus non-academic, and it makes it really easy to apply. After you make your profile, all you have to do is just click apply and it sends your whole application to the recruiter. And Practice Link is where I had the most success in getting replies and the fastest replies. As soon as I would apply on Practice Link, the same day or the next day, a recruiter would send me an email asking me, hey, what time are you free? Can I speak to you to discuss this job more in detail? So after having applied on Practice Link, that's where I got most of my responses for inpatient jobs. And I was looking for daytime positions and I was looking for New York City. However, New York City is very competitive, as in it's very saturated and they offer very low pay because if you don't accept, then there's another person there that would accept. And the working conditions aren't as good, the pay is not as good, and everything's just not as good in New York City. However, the city is nice. I lived here all my life. I would love to stay here. However, I had a lot of student debt that I wanted to pay off really fast, so I couldn't take the pay cut just to stay in New York City. So I started looking at like a 2-hour radius from where I live, like anything within 2-hour radius. That would include New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and there they pay much higher. So in the end, I applied to big health networks in New Jersey, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania. I had around 7 or 8 interviews that I either virtual or I went there in person. And from there, I had around 5 contracts. Some interviews I ended up canceling or not taking their offer. And there were 5 real ones that I really pursued, I was interested in. And what ended up happening was there was this one place I applied for a daytime position. However, when they called back, they said they really liked me and they had this position open for a nocturnist at their flagship. They didn't have any openings in the daytime, so they wanted me for their nocturnist position. And if a daytime position opens up in the future, I can switch to daytime. And they gave me the schedule, 1 week on and 2 weeks off, and with full-time pay and full benefits. And I was just like, that sounds amazing. But I needed some time to think about it. I wanted to see what else is out there. That deal sounded incredible. So what I did was I waited until I had a contract from all of the 5 different places and I compared their contracts. And at the same time, I had friends who were working at those various hospitals and I spoke to them. And most of the hospitals, all 5 of them, were really good. My friends were really happy. They were making a killing. And all of them were trying to convince me to come to the hospital they were working at. Um, but this one particular job that I did pick, I didn't have a friend working there, so I was a little confused. I thought it sounded too good to be true. Maybe the work environment is toxic, or maybe there's something wrong with the program. And so I decided to visit the hospital, and I met the attendings that were working there at the moment, and it seemed fine. Like everyone there was super nice. It seemed like a nice hospital, very clean, very big. Everything was like brand new kind of. And they said that the new compensation package was just instated this year. Before that, they had the old compensation package, which was basically what everyone else was offering. But they were paying above average compared to the market because they're trying to make the program bigger. And they had three new sites. They had three new like small like hospital types, like small 20-bed hospitals where they needed new physicians. But I wanted to go to their flagship hospital, so they opened up that nocturnist position for me. So having gone there, speaking to the other attendings, I felt more comfortable. And then, I thought to myself, even if it is too good to be true, if it turns out there's something wrong with it, they're still offering me way above average compared to everyone else. I had five contracts on the table, and when I compare them, they were paying the most and far above everyone else. And they seemed pretty cool. I got along with everyone. And even if it turned out that there was a problem, I mean, the schedule is just amazing. Like I work 1 week and then I get 2 weeks off. I can do various things in those 2 weeks off. I can do locums, I can do per diems, I can come back home, do something else on the side. So the schedule and the flexibility was what really attracted me to accepting this position. And now I would say that Practice Link would be the best resource for physicians looking for a hospitalist job, be it daytime or nighttime or even outpatient. Practice Link is very good overall. However, Doc Cafe is also very good. Once you make your profile on Doc Cafe, recruiters start calling you. You have to spend some time, speak to the recruiters, speak to many recruiters, see what they're offering, and then go on interviews and go on as many interviews as possible to see what's out there. To know if you have a fair contract, you need to have multiple contracts on the table. There are statistics available that give you average physician salary in this area or this area. However, the most accurate number that you would get is from having around 5 or 6 contracts and knowing, this is what is being offered in this area, and this is what's above average, and this is what's below average. For me, I had 5 contracts, and 4 of them were around the same, and this one stuck out. This one was paying above average. Um, and there's another site called Practice Match, which is very, very similar to Practice Link, where you make your profile, you upload your resume, and then you can the user interface is very friendly. You can just click apply. It sends your application to them. Like you don't have to do much. Once you set everything up, you just hit apply, 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 and you start getting responses from various recruiters. So that was the first part. So, first you speak to the recruiter, then you go on a virtual interview, and then you might have an in-person interview. And all of them are very casual. It's just like, you go there, everyone's like super friendly. They just show you around the hospital when you go in person. They tell you their various, specialties that are available, various programs that are there, what your daily workflow would look like. And when you're going through the hospital, just look at people's faces. Do they look happy? Do they, look angry? Do they look like they just want to walk out? That's something important to look at. And that's, I think, the most like accurate indicator of if you'd be happy there. If you see people there are happy and somewhere, there are people that you can connect to very easily, I think that would be a place that you would fit in as your first job. I think that would be very important. But so after your in-person interview, there's some time in the middle, and then they give you an offer. They sometimes give you an offer right after the virtual interview, but most of the time they ask you to come in, look at the hospital, and then they give you an offer. And the best time to negotiate for the contract is after you get the offer, not during your first interview with the recruiter, not when you're doing the virtual interview with the hospitalist director, not when you're doing the visit to the hospital site. It's only after you get the offer summary or you get the contract, that's when you negotiate. And the way you negotiate is you can speak to you have to kind of see how the hospitalist director or the person communicating with you is by email or by phone. You just call them, be like, hey, I just wanted to discuss the contract or the offer with you. Which points are you flexible on? Are you flexible on salary? Are you flexible on the sign-on bonus? Where are you flexible? So when I did that, most of the time I get a reply that they're flexible on the sign-on bonus. If they're offering you $10,000 sign-on bonus, they can possibly go up to $25,000. It's something that you have to kind of bring up, even if they say that this is the standard contract we give to everyone. This is the standard, Everything is negotiable. Don't listen to them when they say everything is standard, because that's just what they all say, but it's not true. Everyone there probably got has a different contract. Hospitals will try to save money where they can. If they give you a contract and you sign right away, it saves them money. So they try to lowball you in the beginning. So you have to work for you. You have to speak for you. So you have to ask them, hey, I have five. So this is where applying to many jobs is helpful. If you have five contracts on the table, you'll know what other places are offering. And if this one place, let's say you really like the hospital, you really want to work there, but they're offering you a little bit low. Let's say they're offering you, so most of the time they offer you kind of like the same base salary, but they tend to change the sign-on bonus a little bit across like different health networks. So what you can say is, hey, I really like your hospital. I really want to work for you. However, I have this job offer. They're paying me this much bonus. I was wondering if you can match that, you know? Or you can simply say, hey, like, are you flexible on the sign-on bonus? Can you go up on the sign-on bonus? Most of the time they won't go up on the base salary. The hospital has kind of like, a minimum where they start out from, and then they have a maximum where they can go. And they look at the whole package. The whole package includes your benefits that you'll be getting, your base salary, your sign-on bonus, and resident stipend, if any. So they look at the whole package, and they most likely will not go outside the package, but they do try to lowball you in the beginning. They will try to give you, minimal sign-on bonus and minimal moving allowances and so on. So those things you can negotiate. And even base salary, I would say, if they really like you and you really like them, you can negotiate that. But that comes after you have the contract and there's some sort of commitment. So they know that they're not wasting their time and they're not wasting their resources negotiating with you. If you go to the first interview or on the on-site visit, if you start talking about money, it will just put them off. They'll be like, this guy is going to be difficult. They might not even send you a contract. So you have to wait till you have the contract, give the contract some time, and then reach out to them. Hey, I've done research. I have five contracts, and looking across the contracts, I feel like your hospital would be the best place for me. However, these points are where I want to kind of negotiate. Would you be willing to budge on the sign-on bonus? And most of the time they do. So I had a place that offered me, they sent me a contract, and then I told them, hey, this place is offering me this much. Can you, do something about that, because I have a lot of student debt? And initially they said, no, we don't negotiate. This is standard for everyone. So, I let the contract sit there for a week, 2 weeks, and then they reached out to me again. Hey, just wanted to get your, thoughts, if you think you're going to be signing or not signing or whatever. I'm like, hey, I'm still thinking. They're like, okay, fine. So they call me back a week later. They're like, hey, we're willing to offer you $15,000 more on the sign-on bonus. I'm like, hey, that's great news. But this other offer still is so much better. So I ended up declining their offer and accepting the other one. And when I did accept that offer, I emailed everyone else that, hey, I'm off the market now. So, thank you so much. You have to thank everyone. Everyone puts in work getting you to the interview, the recruiter, everyone. So always thank everyone for everything they did and for the opportunity you had to interview there. So those are, my tools. The websites Doc Cafe, Practice Link, and Practice Match. There are a lot of other websites like Lensa, Talent, LinkedIn, and Doc Cafe. You can not Doc Cafe, LinkedIn, and Doximity. You can also use Doximity to apply for jobs. Another thing is LinkedIn. So there was like a month or 2 months where I was a little scared that there are not enough hospitalist jobs, and this was like late 2022, maybe September. I freaked out because I didn't see many hospitalist jobs available. So I went on, I signed up for LinkedIn, made a profile, and I started adding recruiters, like physician recruiters on LinkedIn, messaging them, hey, I'm interested. Do you have any offers? And they're very nice. Most of these recruiters are humans, just like me and you. They're very nice. They're open. You can speak to them. You can ask them for advice. You can, ask them for help. And a lot of times they keep you in mind. And when they have a job opening, they'll shoot you an email if you're interested or someone is interested. And I, still get a lot of calls and still get a lot of emails, even though I've accepted, because of all the networking I did, especially on LinkedIn and Dot Cafe. And it actually ended up helping one of my colleagues who was applying for a very competitive position in New York City that would help propel him to fellowship. So I got a random text message from this university program. Hey, are you still looking for hospitalist positions in New York City? By that time I had already signed the contract. So I told them, but I already signed, but I have a friend that is interested because this is a university program. It's very famous, and he would love to be there. And he got an interview through me the same week, and he's really considering signing the contract. So it helped him out also. So it's important to network and interview at a lot of places and try to get as much information as possible. And one mistake that I would say, I kind of think it could be a mistake, it could be good, it could be bad, but I signed a little bit too early, and the reason for that was the place I signed with was giving me a residence stipend. A residence stipend is basically they're paying you while you're in residency. So they pay you maybe $1,000, $2,000 a month every month until you graduate. So I wanted to sign early and maximize my residence stipend. So that could be maybe a downfall, but I still feel like I got a pretty good deal. But if it turns out to be a bad deal, I did get the contract reviewed by a lawyer, and it has all the clauses which you should look for. For example, can you terminate without any reason? So the contract has termination without cause from either party. All you have to do is return the sign-on bonus and the residence stipend, which is pretty doable. I'm not planning on spending all the money on in a casino right away. So a reason I say it could be a negative aspect, that signing early can be a negative aspect, is because since I signed, I've gotten a lot of offers that are in New York City in very, very good programs that now I'm missing out on. However, they still pay really low compared to my job. And my priority, number one priority coming out of residency, is to maximize my income so I can pay back my student debt as soon as possible. So I have my priorities straight. It's just that, fear of missing out. I feel like I really wanted to stay in New York City. And now I got a job that's like 2 hours out of New York City, which is, if it's week on, 2 weeks off, it's very doable. I can be home doing locums in New York City and still have that job, and I can maximize my income. And the jobs in New York City, they open up every year. So every year there'll be someone matching into fellowship, and I can apply again next year, and so on and so on. So those are my takes on how to go about finding a hospitalist position, or if you're FM or IM, either these tools would work for outpatient versus inpatient. Both of them you can use to apply for both types of jobs. So, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll be sure to reach out, and leave a thumbs up and subscribe.